congregating. Some of them are online. Some of them have come to the temple to take the darshan of the Lord and still able to see, feel, and connect with the Lord. Be more conscious that you are connected to the Lord. Prabhupada always says these words. First become conscious, then become Krishna conscious. So you need to be conscious about your own surroundings, conscious about your practices, and then automatically Krishna will enable us to become more Krishna conscious. So with a few words of thoughts which I thought I will share it because His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj yesterday explained it on the class that it is very, very essential and important that we all follow the principles and regulated activities being informed by the government to follow it so that we are safe and we are allowing others to be safe also. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitamena Bhutle Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahana Laita Shri Shakamitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pramami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarume Asta Kripasandevya Vacha Patitanam Bhavanekya Vaishnavipya Namaha Namo Vishwadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shivate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavani Bhasyata Deshatare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gauravatta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Okam Karati Vachalam Bangalam Gayati Girimit Kapatam Deshi Guru Nintanam Parmananda Padam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Tat Sat. Okay, so today is a very beautiful verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, text number 3. We've been going through this from the past week also. You have discussed and you're continuing to discuss this. We'll probably attempt to complete this particular shloka, which is a very beautiful and very famous verse. Okay, let me share this. This is a famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigamagalpataru garitam phalam shukamukad amritadvrisamhetam vivata bhagavatam rasamalayam moha ahom prasika bhuvi bhavakaha. Okay, O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanates from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, and although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including the liberated souls. So we will touch upon this particular segment of the shlokas. The last three, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 paras of the last one. So Prabhupada's purport, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the wonderful devotees who have enabled us to hear and get the Srimad Bhagavatam text to us in the format where at least we have the enabled format. So this is the shloka in purport, first canto, first chapter, text number 3. In this shloka, it is definitely stated that spiritual rasa, which is relished even in the liberated stage, can be experienced in the literature of the Srimad Bhagavatam due to its being the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. By submissively hearing this transcendental literature, one can attain the full pleasure of his heart's desire. But one must be very careful to hear the message from the right source. Srimad Bhagavatam is exactly received from the right source. It was brought by Narada Muni from the spiritual world and given to his disciple Sri Vyasadeva. Then later, in turn, delivered the message to his son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva Goswami delivered the message to Parikshit Maharaj Parikshit just 7 days before the king's death. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul from his very birth. He was liberated even in the womb of his mother, and he did not undergo any sort of spiritual training after his birth. At birth, no one is qualified, neither in the mundane nor in the spiritual sense. But Sri Sukadeva Goswami, due to his being a perfectly liberated soul, did not have to undergo an evolutionary process for spiritual realization. Yet, despite his being a completely liberated soul, a person situated in the transcendental position above the three modes, he was attracted to this transcendental rasa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by liberated souls who sing Vedic hymns. The Supreme Lord's pastimes are more attractive to liberated souls than to the mundane people. He is a necessity, not impersonal, because it is only possible to carry on the transcendental rasa with a person. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the transcendental pastime of the Lord are narrated. The narration is systematically depicted by Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Thus, the subject matter is appealing to all class of persons, including those who seek liberation and those who seek to become one with the Supreme God. In Sanskrit, the parrot is also known as Sukha. When a ripened fruit is cut by the red beaks of such birds, is a sweet flavor is enhanced. The Vedic fruit, which is mature and ripe in knowledge, is spoken through the lips of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who is compared to the parrot not for his ability to recite Srimad Bhagavatam exactly as he rehearsed it from his learned father, but for his ability to present the work in a manner that would appeal all class of men. The subject matter is so presented to the lips of Srila Sukadeva Goswami that any sincere listener that hears submissively can at once relish transcendental taste, which are distinct from the perverted taste of the material world. The ripened fruit is not dropped all of a sudden from the highest planet of Krishna Loka. Rather, it comes down carefully through the chain of disciplining succession without change or disturbance. Foolish people who are not in the transcendental disciplic succession commit great blunders by trying to understand the highest transcendental rasa, known as the rasa dance, without following the footsteps of Shukadeva Goswami, who presents this fruit very carefully by the stages of transcendental realization. One should be intelligent enough to know the position of Srimad Bhagavatam by consulting a personality like Shukadeva Goswami, who deals with the subject so carefully. This process of disciplic succession of the Bhagavata school suggests that in the future, also Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood from the person who actually a representative of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, a professional man who makes a business out of reciting the Bhagavatam illegally, is certainly not a representative of Sukadeva Goswami. Such a man's business is only to earn his livelihood. Therefore, one should refrain from hearing the lectures of such professional men. Such men usually go to the most confidential part of the literature without undergoing the gradual process of understanding this grave subject. This they usually plunge into the subject of the rasa dance, which is misunderstood by the foolish men class of men. Some of them take this to be immoral, while others try to cover it up by their own stupid interpretations. They have no desire to follow the footsteps of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. One should conclude, therefore, that the serious student of rasa should receive the message of Bhagavatam in the chain of disciplic succession from Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who describes the Bhagavatam from its very beginning and not whimsically to satisfy the mundaner who has very little knowledge in transcendental science. Srimad Bhagavatam is so carefully presented that a sincere and a serious person can at once enjoy the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge simply by drinking the nectarian juice through the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami or his bona fide representative. So, this is a very beautiful presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada explains in the purport, there are many things which Srila Prabhupada mentions. There are a few set of important subject points which we need to continue to hold on. Is that Srimad Bhagavatam is not a mundane literature. It's not like probably someone's writing a novel, or maybe you would have heard pretty many people writing off late, anything related to so-called spirituality. Quite a lot of literary I don't know whether you call them a real author or author in the mundane subject thoughts. There are a lot of people who interpret their own way in speculative way, saying Ramayana is not meant for to understand Lord Rama and his presentation of why the Lord came as a Maryada Purushottam to this world, and then how did he overcome the evil aspect of Ravana. So these are not what they are looking at. They are looking at some kind of a sensational stories, and they will probably come out with some kind of concept that, you know what, Ravana is even glorified in a place called Bihar. So that's not the idea behind the subject matter of Ramayana. The same way, Srimad Bhagavatam is not a common subject matter for everyone to understand. First of all, even though it is available for everyone to take it, not many can understand it. The contemplation of Srimad Bhagavatam is not in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not in the pages of, just because you hold a book of Bhagavatam and say that, okay, I've got Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm going to read it nicely. Wow, fantastic. No, it's not going to happen. The subject matter of Krishna consciousness or subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is not in the pages or book of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then where is it? It's in the practitioner's heart. If someone is practicing Krishna consciousness, he is actually already imbibed, is already put into his heart all the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, this beautiful verse is presented in such a manner that it is not directly given to us. It is not just that it has fallen from the heavens. No. Srimad Bhagavatam has come and presented itself by the grace of the Supreme Lord's direct representative, Narada Rishi. He brought this from the spiritual world and gave it to his disciple Srila Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva did not keep it. What he did, he made sure that it goes to his son, Shukadeva Goswami. Now, Shukadeva Goswami did not keep it for himself. When the entire sages, because we are practically talking about a very important subject matter, right? This subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be very detailedly explained. We are talking about this. This is the chapter 1. What is the chapter 1? The questions of the sages of Naimisharanya. So now we are going to discuss more and more deeper and understand why are the sages asking these questions. How are they asking these questions? For what purpose? For whose benefit? Why they want us to know all these things? Otherwise, what will happen if we don't know? Well, if something happens in America, does it really matter to me in sitting in here? Well, in one sense, a lot of things depend on what these people are doing in that part of the world. But actually speaking, we are not related to this world. So Prabhupada explains that we don't have anything to do with this world, but we need to understand that the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna conscious literatures doesn't come straight somewhere from somewhere. It comes through a beautiful disciplic succession. So Shukadeva Goswami is now clearly, when the entire sages, assembly of sages, no one could give a correct, proper, and very authentic message to King Parikshit. It's just a matter of 7 days, he's going to die. So then what did he do? Shukadeva Goswami came in front. He said, no worry, you have a right to do what you're supposed to do. And in 7 days, I'll make sure that you are fit for going back to God. By presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam to him, he gave the world and a treasure house of sweetness, a treasure house of love, treasure house of happiness. Anyone who touches this book any time of the day, he is not going to keep it down. Why? Because there is a love involved in this. And it's not from this world, it's beyond the 3 modes of material nature. So obviously, everyone will get attracted to the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is the instructions of the Lord. Now, a person who wants to understand that why am I sitting here and understanding? Right? We are investing our time here. It's a practical situation. Prabhupada explains that we all have to invest our time. If we don't invest our time, we are not going to gain anything. But the investing our time should be in a systematic method. It's not that you just want to do it for the sake of doing and ticking a checkbox. No, that's not the way Krishna conscious. It's not a carrier. If someone is in the shelter or Guru Ashraya or you're in Prabhupada Ashraya, Tomorrow you will become, say, you are in Guru Ashraya. Day after tomorrow you become an initiated devotee. Then you become a second initiated devotee. And then you come and ask me, then what? What do I do? The idea is not that Krishna consciousness, you build up yourself as a carrier. It's not a career path. It's the love. The more days you spend in Krishna consciousness, is the more deeper your love for Krishna is, the deeper and closer you become to Krishna. This will happen only when you start learning the art of appreciating, learning the art of showing your gratitude, learning the humble nature of how you wanted to connect with Krishna and is representing devotees. This is very, very consciously you need to attempt this. This is very important for all of us. Of course, when I'm trying to say this to you, I am expecting myself also to follow the same subject matter, because Prabhupada was not a personality like he always used to do this. When Prabhupada was actually he doesn't need to read Krishna book, he doesn't need to read Srimad Bhagavatam, but practically being, Prabhupada used to show the entire world by an example. He used to sit and read Krishna book, say, wow, what a nice pastimes of the Lord. So then Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada, you don't need to read Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna book stories, but you still read. Right? Because Prabhupada said, I have not written this. Krishna has written this, and I need to know more about Krishna. See how beautiful Prabhupada is giving us this wonderful message by an example. The more we become Krishna conscious, that means that there is a lot of maturity which has come into the picture. And it's not going to come on day one. It's not a one-day affair. It's a lifetime. It's a lifestyle. And you need to moderate yourself to accept and enable yourself to follow this process. The process of Krishna consciousness is very simple. It is very, very simple, but it is like walking on a razor's edge. If you don't take it in a very serious fashion, you may probably get chucked. But if you take it serious, that doesn't mean that you always show your face very prim and very serious about it and you don't talk to people. No, that is rasa. That is melos. There is many, many variations. Hasya is one of the rasa there. So humor. So all those are there in Krishna consciousness. But the way in which Krishna consciousness is presented, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle where you actually imbibe that lifestyle as a part of your own livelihood. It's not that you are going to just do it for a day and then you say, okay, I don't have anything else to do. And what do I do after that? Here, Prabhupada explains what Srimad Bhagavatam can give us. The taste of bhakti, which is very clearly presented in this particular shloka. The sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is presented very beautifully here because it is touched by the lips of a beautiful parrot. Shuka. Shuka is also parrot. The ripened fruit of wisdom. It is touched by the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. So, automatically in Sanskrit, Prabhupada explains Sukha also means parrot. Because whenever you can practically see in the garden, if you have a pomegranate or if you have a guava, so you will see some of the parrots, they come and actually tap it and then try to rip a little bit of it, and it won't eat full. It will just take a little bit and run off. But that particular sweet is much sweeter than any other fruit in that entire tree. So that is why it is very important that we connect ourselves with the right source of information, not that we carry ourselves with some kind of a speculative thought, thinking that whatever Krishna conscious practice I am doing is what Krishna consciousness is. It won't be so. We may be thinking that we are doing a lot of devotional service. It may not actually be a right pathway way by which you are practicing devotional service, unless until it is validated by a spiritual master or a senior Vaishnava who is actually practicing, has been practicing for so long, and that will help him to actually validate it. How am I able to connect with Krishna? How closer I can become to Krishna? The ripened fruit of Krishna consciousness is not at all ever dropped from the Krishna loka. It is rather always followed, practiced, and given to us by a disciplining succession. In the same way, the message of Krishna consciousness is not for something that we hear it one time and then let it go. It is in daily routine. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Right? How does our Krishna consciousness improve? Sevan Mukaihi Dikwado Swayameva Spuratiyada. The more you devote yourself in serving Krishna, in your practicing Krishna consciousness, in being connected with devotees who are serious practitioners of Krishna consciousness, Connect always with those people who are actually showing you the pathway of how you can be, because this is one lifetime. Prabhupada says that many, many millions of lifetime we have been plunged into this well. This well is so deep, we don't even have seen the daylight of it. But somehow by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada, somehow the causeless mercy of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and those practitioners, we have now got a chance to connect with Krishna, connect with the Guru Parampara. Now that is the key factor of our success, that we need to jump ourselves to the bandwagon and then hold it very strong at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Be with those devotees who are serious practitioners of Krishna consciousness. Don't just simply take anything and everything for granted and then just stick your checkbox and say, Prabhuji, I'm also coming to the temple, I'm also taking prasadam, I'm also doing some kind of chanting, I'm also there in the place where I have my deities at home, I'm doing some puja and all those things. That's not sufficient. The practice of Krishna consciousness is not concised with only a few set of activities. You need to be processed about. Of course, Prahlad Maharaj says Navavidha Bhakti is enough. You have to connect with one of the Navavidha Bhaktis. But of all the Navavidha Bhaktis, the first two is the most crucial and critical for our success. For our success, Shravana must be there, Kirtana must be there. The holy name of the Lord is the one which actually delivers. We are not Nitya Siddhas, nor we are Sadhana Siddhas. We can only become a humble servant of the holy name, and also the Vaishnavas who enable us to chant the holy name. And then by the grace of the holy name, we will get delivered. There is no other choice for us. If there is any little bit of choice here and there, then we would have taken to some other path of freedom, because we always look for some kind. This is natural for everyone, because we are looking all the time for independence. But we are never independent. We are completely dependent on all the time. We are dependent on many people, many personalities, many processes. So how do we understand this? Here, Srimad Bhagavatam is explained to us just not for the sake of explaining. The process and understanding of the Bhagavata school suggests that even in the future, it has to be understood with the person who is actually a representative of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, not through some kind of a professional reciter. Do happen. A lot of many places that there is Bhagavata Saptaha. Someone will come and then full of melodramatically they will present. Oh my God, you should say, especially if you go to Vrindavan, especially during Kartik, there are so many places this Bhagavata Katha happens. And the way in which the person who is going to be a reciter, he will take all the audience to a very different swing of things. And he will take you in such a manner that you will feel, oh my God, this is what is Bhagavatam. We go to ISKCON temple, you never read or hear any of this. Haribol?
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Did I miss out something?
Yes.
Where did I miss out?
You were saying Bhagavad Saptaha.
Yes, Bhagavata Saptaha in Vrindavan during November Kartik month. If you go there, the people, the reciter is going to take you through a different world altogether. It will take you through a swing of things. He will make sure that you are in a different plane. But when you come to an ISKCON temple, they will talk only about 3 subject matter. The first subject matter is you are not this body or a spirit soul. Second subject matter is death is inevitable and you don't have a chance, you're going to die sometime in future. Maybe today, tomorrow or something. It's very pessimistic. The third thing they're going to say is, Prabhu, when I give you some service, you learn the art of doing the service. Why are you putting the ball to someone else? I am giving you service and you need to do that. So there is no humble nature which is there in your system to accept and adapt all these information. So now Srimad Bhagavatam is explained in great detail that now we are able to contemplate, understand and process it. And okay, these are the important things I need to do. Not that I simply go and sit in some Bhagavatam class by someone else or a mundane scholar or some professional reciters and then hear about all these things. Because they are not understanding. It's pretty lopsided. It's a very low value. It's not what we are going to connect and learn from. What we need to learn now is the main thing of Krishna consciousness, the main thing of Srimad Bhagavatam to us as a message is, always remember, Krishna consciousness is completely dependent on your spiritual master's grace. Srila Prabhupada has enabled all of us. Prabhupada was asked this question by one of the disciples during a morning walk, because Prabhupada also gives the same subject matter in 1975 in Venezuela, Caracas. 1975, Prabhupada gave a lecture on the same subject matter, 1.1.3. Prabhupada was actually asked by one of his disciples, Prabhupada, we were all Mlechas, Yamanas, and you name it, we were all so deeply stuck with all the bad qualities we have been having. But I don't know why and how we are able to do some kind of a devotional practice now. Prabhupada said, you don't have any Sukruti. I had to enable your Sukruti. You didn't have it. So this, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, we are able to get all these things in place. So our gratitude, our loyalty, our humble nature, our acceptance of doing devotional service must be practiced among the devotees and enthusiastically. Like, for example, of course, this is a very testing period for all of us because of the pandemic. But whereas if you are able to do some service, please, as a part of your Bhakti Vriksha, as a part of the temple Bhakti Vriksha, many temple devotees, there are so many people who come here to the temple, right? So all of us start doing some kind of a service if you're not doing it. If you're already doing that service, it's great. It can be a simple service. Maybe you just take a cloth or a broom, just wipe the floor, and that's enough. Our spiritual practice starts manifolding. It goes to a next level. And the way in which it happens is you will not even know, because that's the power of Krishna consciousness. That's the power of bhakti. So here we are being actually presented the important questions by the sages of Naimisharanya. They are actually asking for our benefit. They are asking questions very, very relevant to Suta Goswami, who was present in the main assembly where Sukadeva Goswami was speaking about to King Parikshit. Now we have a chance to hear the same subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, what Suta Goswami spoke, and right here sitting in 2021. So how powerful this message of Krishna consciousness is. It's beautifully preserved. This Vaishnava culture is a phenomenal culture. It's a lifestyle. It's a presentable lifestyle. It's not that there are more don'ts than do's. The don'ts and do's are actually only meant for us to become more fine-tuned and purified. So then we need to practice, learn the art of all these things presentably in the total situation in which we are all living in. So in conclusion, Prabhupada explains that a serious subject matter of this particular Krishna conscious message coming through the words of Srimad Bhagavatam has to be accepted from the strain of disciplic succession. Who can understand that Bhagavatam from its very beginning is not for satisfying a mundaner with some kind of a little of transcendental knowledge, but it has been carefully presented that a sincere and a serious person can at once enjoy the ripened fruit of Vedic wisdom simply by drinking the nectarian juice coming through the mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami or his bona fide representative. So now it's very important for all of us that we know that we are all very busy with many things, but we should. One question was asked by one of the devotees that I am finding it very difficult to study to His Holiness Japatak Maharaj yesterday in the class, that how much of time should I spend in order to understand Srila Prabhupada books, because I also have my other works to do. Maharaj said you should actually do a systematic study of at least half an hour to 1 hour of studying Srimad Bhagavatam daily, day in and day out. So this is very important. Bhagavatam is very important for us. It's essential practice of Krishna consciousness. And that's what will help us to be Krishna conscious. I'll stop here. If in case anyone has any questions, be happy to take it. Any questions? No questions is great. Whatever I said, you have understood or you have not understood anything.
Thank you, Prabhu. No questions.
Oh, Anadi Prabhu.
Thank you.
All the way
What did
from Malaysia. Salamat danke.
I should say terima kasih. And it was nice hearing you after a long time. And thanks for stressing on the importance of reading Bhagavatam right way. And you ended it up with a very nice point. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhu, I had one question.
Please.
So you explained last that how to read Srimad Bhagavatam in systematic way. Somebody asked. So what was the answer? I didn't get.
Maharaj answered that we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam daily. It's not that you should just read it one time and then leave it off. And you need to keep some time, 30 minutes or 1 hour, but you need to read it. When your enthusiasm gets reduced, you should connect with those devotees who are constantly reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. You need to be with devotees all the time, ready to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Now that we have got a beautiful methods, you don't need to only hold the books to read Bhagavatam. You get it in computer, you get it in phone, vedabase.io, you get in many variations. So you can just go on read wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So, but and even you have got e-recordings, audio books, audio files. So even when you're working, when you're doing something, or when you're cooking something, when you're in the kitchen, or when some Matajis are there in the kitchen, this is the best time to read Bhagavatam. Hear Bhagavatam, because we cannot, our timelines are very tight. So there's no other choice for us. But when we have a timelines, we need to learn how we can squeeze out and make sure that we are all the time hearing about the message from Srila Prabhupada's books. Because we need to realize, otherwise we'll get carried away with this mundane or the relationships which we are built in our houses, right? You need to realize that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, we don't belong to this world, we belong to the Supreme Lord's abode, and we are here just like how Bhagavad Gita explains that this particular world in which we are in is like a monsoon cloud which is going to come and pour long waters for 4 months. After that, the clouds are going to spread back. In the same way, our relationships in this world, whether it's mother, father, uncle, auntie, husband, wife, children, everyone, anyone in this world has the same constant, what do you call a jigsaw puzzle, which is all the time going to take our energy away from Krishna. We are still strong enough. Let's invest our strength in the service of Krishna. Not that when we become old at the age of 70, 80 or whatever you call, right? What's the point in sitting and then brooding about I wanted to do something for Krishna at that time? You may not be able to do it. So Prabhupada explains the same thing. Maharaj also explained that it is very important that we need to be with the devotees who are serious practitioners. They will enable us because they know that the love of Godhead is not in the pages of Bhagavatam. It is actually in the practitioner's heart. They will enable it. It is just a matter of time. Then they will bring the beauty of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama galpa tharu galitam phalam. Muhur aho rasika. Not one time. What is ahor? Means many times. Just don't read one time and tick the checkbox. I have done it. Muhur aho rasika. Bhuvi bhavakaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, if you can go to the translation and the transliteration, Srila Prabhupada explains, those who are full in knowledge of the mellows and are expert and thoughtful, many times you need to spend your time in understanding and relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Pibata Bhagavata Rasamalayam. Learn the art of Pibata, means to relish, to drink this beautiful juice. Sometimes we see that, no? You have a mango has a skin, a mango has a seed. But this Bhagavatam is like this. There is no seed, there is no skin. So imagine the complete flesh. Beautiful, beautiful taste. Relishing, just going into your mouth as out of, if someone is ready to cut and give you, you will be eating maybe around 10, 20 mangoes also, right? So that's how that relishable element of Krishna consciousness is through Srimad Bhagavatam. I just got a message now. It says, Thank you. My take home message. My take home message is AC is a lifestyle and not a few hours of practice. Perfect. Real me one. I don't know who it is, but still, that's a perfect point. Yes, it's a lifestyle. It cannot be a few hours of practice. If you are thinking that it is going to be. We are not in an NIT or an AppTech. Uh, it's not an NIT or an AppTech that no, there is a slogan which they said. If you are not studying in NIT, you are missing something. No, it's not. Krishna consciousness cannot be with a yardstick to say that, okay, in a few practices, a few hours of practice, morning getting up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, you sit and chanting your Harinam, the holy names, and then you attend Guru Puja, then Mangalati, then Guru Puja, then that will only strengthen your trust and faith in the process. But you need to still learn the art of accepting the message of Godhead through the devotees who are practicing, because we are all sailing on the same boat, probably in different decks, but we are sailing on the same boat. You need to be there very clear. You will see the same devotees who are sitting next to you, even in the spiritual world. Because Prabhupada says ISKCON is still there in the spiritual world and he has got the keys for the back door of Krishna's house. And no one else has, none of the acharyas have even presented it. That's a phenomenal statement by Srila Prabhupada. He said, I've got the back door key for Krishna's house. And who will give? When you go and knock the doors of heavens, right? And someone has to recognize you. And who will recognize? We know only Prabhupada. That's why we come, we pay our obeisance to Srila Prabhupada and say, Prabhupada, please enable us to be in devotional practice. It's not just 1 or 2 days of effort or 1 or 2 hours of effort per day. Constantly, all through the 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it has to be Krishna centric. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. This motto always should be there in your system. Right? We know the story of how, was it Kanakadasa or someone, that the Acharya asked him to go and eat a banana and come and then tell me where there is no one else. He was the only person who said that I have to be honest, that I was never alone. I was always being seen by someone. Upadrishta Anumantacha. So this is naturally being presented. So this Krishna consciousness is a natural practice of a spiritual living entity. So we have to practice every day. No Saturdays and Sundays, no holidays. And don't think you have a Easter holiday coming up, Yugadi coming up, that coming up, this coming up, nothing. Every day is a Krishna conscious festival. And of course, Krishna conscious is a festival. It is not that it is something mind-boggling or it's crazy stuff which is happening. No, it's not. What is spiritual? We are a part of Sankirtan party, right? Lord Chaitanya is only famous for what? Sankirtan party. What does party means? Every walk is a dance, every word is a song, every day is a feast. So why will you not want it? It's just a matter of time that we learn the art of understanding, oh my God, I'm in a party and I need to be a part of that party. Then automatically everything will be natural. It's not going to be a difficult situation at all to all of us. Okay, I hope this answers. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have one question,
Please.
practical question in my specific life.
Sure.
So I feel that because of my Swabhava, Sanskar, previous karma, whatever we call, that impels me not to remain Krishna conscious for most part of the day, apart from like chanting and right now I'm not regularly reading Srimad Bhagavatam. I read but not regularly. Earlier it was better, but whatever. This is a fluctuating situation. So because of my Swabhava karma, I'm not able to remain Krishna conscious for whole part of the day. So there looks like that there is no hope for person like me. Then what is the solution here?
You have decided the question, you have decided the answer. So who can give you an answer?
No, what is the solution? I'm just asking.
No, you only said no.
Because of my karma Swabhava, I'm not able to remain Krishna conscious.
So that you decided, right? That you decided. You didn't decide me to give you the answer, but you already decided because of my Swabhava, I have already decided that I am not going to be Krishna conscious. I will not be. Unless until you attempt an exam, how will you pass the exam? Everyone is going through the exams, right? Everyone has been given a test paper, assessment paper. Now we are in that kind of a situation that the test paper is given to you, you write the exam, then we will decide whether you will pass the exam or not pass the exam. For passing the exam, you already have an answer. Why? Because you are daily practicing, daily reading. So then obviously all the questions coming, you will tick it and you will get the correct answers. So then you will pass. See, naturally what happens, Krishna consciousness is not based on some preconditioning, right? Please understand it. It's not a preconditioning that you decide, oh, Krishna, I am only able to do 2 hours of chanting. I am able to do only 2 slokas a day. And the rest of the day, I am not Krishna conscious. Why? Because we already preconditioned ourselves and our mind is already, it's all coming out of this 2 eyebrows. In between the 2 eyebrows, don't allow. Anytime when Maya knocks, there is only 2 words, which you know, 2 letters, not words. 2 letters. You should always, when Maya knocks, you should always say 2 letters. What are the 2 letters? N-O. No. So whenever Krishna consciousness is presented to you in some way or the other, are you taking prasadam?
Yeah, I offer at home.
Wait. Just say yes or no, okay? I'm going to do a decision tree for you. Are you taking prasadam?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Then you are Krishna conscious. Are you attending Mangalarti?
Not every day.
No, at least some days, right?
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to attend every day. But at least you are connecting in Mayapur TV. Alternatives are there, Prabhu. You have alternative. Mayapur TV is there. You can connect with Mayapur. I sit in outside India and I desperately wait for Mayapur Mangalarti because Krishna has given us alternatives in terms of gadgets. So use it in Krishna consciousness. Are you with devotees? Do you talk to some devotees? Are you going to call some devotees? Do you speak to any devotees?
Yeah, in temple.
Yes, perfect. That's all. You are already Krishna conscious in all through the day. You don't have to do an extra endeavor for all this. It is just that probably your preconditioning or your thought process. See, we have something in our hands which we can do. The rest is not in our hands. It is not in our hands. It's beyond our control. Shastras explain that Traigunya Vishayaveda Nishtraigunya Bhava Arjuna. Krishna is telling it to Arjuna. But in the same way, we don't have control of many things. Don't come with a preconditioning that I can't do this, I can't do that in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness does not depend on any kind of mundane situations to us to practice Krishna consciousness. Even when you are not sick, you are sick and you don't have energy to get out of your bed, you can still lie down and sit and chant your rounds. I mean, lie down and not sit. Lie down and chant your rounds. Or hear to Prabhupada lectures. Or do something which is Krishna consciousness. If you can't read all these things, do some quiz. Enable yourself with something creative to be connected with Krishna. Otherwise, it's not that easy for us to practice Krishna consciousness. We have to be given many options, many alternative solutions. Otherwise, we will think that, okay, this is not going to help me. It's so stringent and rigid. Krishna consciousness is not actually rigid, but in one sense, it's also rigid. It is expecting you to systematically follow with some kind of a focused attention. Ekena manasa. You will come to that shloka in the second chapter. It is the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. This brilliant ekena manasa with one pointed, concentrated effort.
Yeah,
That effort is what will actually bring you to Krishna conscious practice. Imagine you are taking up Krishna consciousness, your friends are taking up Krishna consciousness, we are all sailing on the same boat with different decks. Now, some may not be able to do all that what everyone is able to do. So that doesn't mean that we are not Krishna conscious. We can be Krishna conscious. So keep the faith, keep it going. It's just a matter of time we will become more and more matured enough to handle situations. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for helping
Yeah.
me.
Don't always, please understand that Krishna consciousness is not about pessimistic. It's about optimistic. Always remember one thing. Don't feel low about what your feeling is. Being low in feeling is actually giving away your heart. Don't allow that to happen. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Can we stop here? Is there anything else? Anyone else wants to give a question? Or if you ask me a question, or I will ask a question.
I asked who do you on this subject so many times. Okay, you only put a question and you only answer. Because in your way, you feel, okay, if I want to do this way Krishna consciousness, so this is the way only of Krishna consciousness. So that is not a Krishna consciousness. Your Krishna consciousness is there. If you want to serve the Lord, you serve that way. What way? You brought flower, you give to Pujari, let it to the Pujari. Just an example. It is maybe don't, maybe you have to listen. No. Again, you are saying same thing. Maybe Lord doesn't want that flower that way. No, I'm not telling you he don't want to, maybe of that particular time. It is not that it won't be offered. Then again, I'm sorry that if that is only our problem. Because anyway, villains are everywhere.
Okay. I could not really hear what Anupul Prabhu said, but thank you. I think it broke off. But yes, I understood the idea behind what you said. Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, preconditioning is
I was telling you, Krishna consciousness is that way which I think.
yes.
Krishna consciousness is that Lord's will can Lord's address. I'm long back telling you, when there was a dress, on a dress there was a problem was there. Some Mataji put on dress and other mother didn't like. And they changed the dress in 2 hours. Then I called both of them. I said, why you changed? Probably I didn't like that. I said, who are you to tell ke you don't like? Whose service was there and he put that way mukat or mala, whatever she has done. So maybe she liked and Lord inspired him to do that way.
Correct.
You are sitting outside, you cannot say it is not looking good. Whatever she got inspiration inside the altar, she has done.
Yes.
So let it go there. You go with your inspiration. You
Yes.
cannot dictate her. You have to do like this actually.
Yeah.
So our Krishna consciousness is there, my way or highway. We doesn't go with the canon way. We doesn't go with the will of Lord. If somebody is in altar, if he wants to do that way, yes, that is the Lord will. Lord is inspiring him to do it that way. So we have to think that way. That is the Krishna consciousness.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. That's a great explanation. Yes. We all come with that kind of, unfortunately, we come with this kind of a thought in all our daily practice also. Sometimes we feel that what we are doing is good, but that's not enough for us to say that we have ticked all the checkbox. Someday or the other, we need to learn and accept that Krishna consciousness is driven by a process. It's not people orientation. We follow the tenets of Bhagavad Gita. Today I am practicing Krishna consciousness because I am hearing the message from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. I am not. Today you might be happy that I am sitting here. What if I am not Krishna conscious tomorrow and then I go to some bar and restaurant and I do all sorts of nonsense and you will still accept my words when I come and sit and talk? You will not. Why? Because you know that I am not a good standing devotee. So in the same way, Krishna consciousness is not about that, I can do anything I want based on my thoughts. It is process driven. It's not people driven. Of course, you get inspiration from people, but the process is very clearly defined by Srila Prabhupada. We have to get up in the morning and then Mangalarti, or you can be in your own house and still practice Krishna consciousness. Anyway, I think it's time for Aarti now. I'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Om Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay. So Prabhu, please show the Lord's darshan so that everyone is getting the mercy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Vishal Gauranga Prabhu. Even though you were not well today, but still we are so inspired that you gave this class. Very, very thankful to you, Prabhu. All the devotees from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. No, it was just a bit stiff. Yeah. Okay. Take darshan of Jagannath. Jai Jagannath, Baldesh, Niki.
It was Vishal Gauranga Prabhu. He stays in London and he was one of the devotees who connected here temple for a long time. He used to be connected to us. So very strong devotee, family, and they're always connected to us. So very thankful to this Prabhu. So very nice Bhagavatam as he gave today. I have a few